Welcome to Birmingham Seaholm High School for our inaugural field hockey game between the Bloomfield Hills Blackhawks and the Birmingham United Varsity Field Hockey Squad. I'm Brad Fetters for BACB Sports, getting you ready. This is the first year that the sport of field hockey is a MHSAA-sponsored varsity sport, and we kick it off with our backyard brawl. We quickly will go down to field level, where head coach of Birmingham, Amy Murray, is alongside the second member of our BACB Sports crew, Andy Aubrey.
All right, Brad, here we are. Thank you very much. We're down here with the head coach of the Birmingham United team. This is Amy Murray. Amy, our first broadcast ever of covering field hockey, our maiden voyage. You are a part of it. Our first interview ever. How does it feel?
I'm super excited for this program to be in Birmingham. It's been a long time coming. There were girls several years ago that tried to put a program together with limited success, but now that the MHSAA has sanctioned it and the school's on board, it's been a full go, and we're excited.
Nice. Talk about your advancement in the game and where you started. You told me you played in college, and then moving forward to where we are today.
I grew up in Pennsylvania, started playing in 5th or 6th grade. Played through college. After college, I was lucky enough to be able to play a little bit in some club teams, and then coached here and there. Coached in New Hampshire, coached in Connecticut. I was coaching down the road here before this program started, and now here I am.
Okay. Now, you and I talked a little bit just before we went on the air about the recruitment of players. What was that process like?
Seemed to be very easy. Seems like lots of girls want to play this sport. We have 52 girls out, I think, for the team. It's like soccer, so there's 10 people and a goalie on a team at a time, so 52 is a lot of girls. So we're super happy that people want to play, want to learn the game.
Right. Well, it's a fast-paced game. We know that, and we're excited to see it. And we know you guys can put a great product out there on the field, and they've got a fine coach with a lot of history in the sport, and we're looking forward to it. So good luck tonight. We're going to wrap this part of this interview up and go and talk to your counterpart for Bloomfield Hills in a minute. And after that, we'll get this thing started. So thanks, Amy.
Thanks.
Good luck. You bet.
All right, thank you so much, Coach Murray and Andy. Birmingham looking for their very first win of the season after an 0-4 start, a 5-0 loss to West Bloomfield, a 2-0 loss to Clarkston, a 2-1 drop contest to Grand Blanc, and a 4-0 loss to Farmington Hills. So Birmingham looking for some goals, some offense. Standing in their way tonight will be the Bloomfield Hills Blackhawks. They are starting a freshman in goal tonight, number 99, Juju Sosha, and her head coach now, Coach Joe, is alongside our very own Andy Aubrey.
All right, Brad, thank you very much. We are now down here with the head coach of the Bloomfield Hills Blackhawks JV team, Coach Joe. Coach Joe, thank you very much for taking a moment. Now, this is a sport, as I mentioned to Amy, that we're not that familiar with. This is our very first broadcast of the sport here at Seaholm. It's an old sport, 2,000 or 3,000 BC with the Greeks. There's people on our staff that thought I was at one of those first games, but that's not true at all, no. But tell us a little bit about your background in the sport and how you come to be here with us today.
I'm originally from Pennsylvania, which is considered the home of field hockey. I played myself in high school, and then both my daughters played, and so I started coaching that way. I made sure I got my coaching certification, and we've just been welcoming players since then.
Okay. Now, they haven't had trouble getting ladies to play at all. It seems like they've got more players than they got spots for. Have you found that at Bloomfield Hills, too?
We've had a ton of interest. So we're a newer program in terms of the state. We've been around for 6 years, and I think our first year we had 30 girls. By our second year we had 50. We have, I think, almost 60 girls rostered between 3 teams this year.
Interesting. Okay, so for those of us who are uninitiated, what can we look for with this sport? We know it's a very fast sport, right?
It's a very, very fast, and especially on turf, it's even faster. So we want widespread passes. We want quick passes. Dribbling shouldn't be done because that's just kind of to get yourself out of trouble.
Okay.
But passing and just moving the ball forwards and backwards is the biggest thing.
Right. Okay. So at the end of the day, what will you have considered this season to be as a success? How would you quantify that, would you say?
So it depends on where we are at with in terms of class sizes, seniors, juniors, sophomores. This season is a as a success is the last team that played was all freshmen, and I play all freshmen, and they're phenomenal. So our success, as we rate it, is how well are our players, and do they move up the following year? We want to give them as much time on the field because that's where they really learn, is on the field and playing.
Of course. Well, the future sounds bright then if you've got so many youngsters playing, right, for the varsity. All right, well, we'll wrap it up for now. We look forward to seeing your team in action, and but we want you to stick with us because as soon as we come back, we're going to get this one started. Thanks, Coach Joe.
All right, you're very welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. But only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back to Seaholm High School. Brad Fitters alongside Andy Aubrey, BACB Sports. Bloomfield United taking on the Bloomfield Hills Blackhawks. Girls varsity field hockey nearly set to go. Let's take a look at our goaltenders first for Bloomfield Hills, wearing the number 99, the blue jersey of Juju Sosha. Juju, a freshman on this year's squad, encountering her in net for Birmingham will be number 76, Layla Feldman. Talking to Layla prior to the start of tonight's contest, Andy, she said she was a soccer goalie, said she kind of fell in love with the position and thought, why not try it out in field hockey? She says it's kind of similar to soccer in terms of cutting down sort of the shooting angles, so to speak, and she says she just loves the position.
Yeah, I found that interesting. I thought for sure lacrosse would have been more the comp, but she did say that. I was standing there. I heard her talk about soccer, and we're going to find out for ourselves here, Brad. It's our maiden voyage with field hockey. Here we go.
Birmingham United in the black jerseys with gold trim and numerals. The Blackhawks in their road white kits. Birmingham will be going right to left, 15-minute quarters. 4 quarters make up a varsity field hockey game. This is now a sanctioned sport by the MHSAA, and maybe one of the more unique rules, I think, is the fact that there is no offside. So you can cherry pick all you want, Andy.
Yes, it'd be a great sport for Wayne Gretzky. Did I say that out loud? Anyways, I found it interesting that we also have a running clock, which is another sort of unique aspect, a little bit closer to soccer in that regard too, I guess.
And we will see quite often, I think, throughout this game where you just kind of play on, right? And you kind of self-start your dribble, and that's what this is considered. A lot of the stick work is considered dribbling. Now, the defender is not allowed to make contact with their opponent's stick, so you will not see any sort of slashing or picking up the stick. That's frowned upon. And you must score within that shooter's area. They call it the D. And it's that sort of semicircle that is outlined in black out on the pitch.
And also dribbling, as I learned from Coach Joe from Bloomfield Hills, is sort of frowned upon. This is a game that they value passing and crisp passing at that, but the longer a player maintains possession of the ball, I guess the worse it is. You're going to be able to make more ground up by passing the ball forward.
Now, similar to ice hockey, you really have to be in control of your stick. You really do not want to see any sort of high shot. Everything must really be kept along the field. No high backswings.
And you're also only allowed to use the facing of the stick, not the back of the stick.
Yeah, in fact, the back of the stick is curved to sort of prevent that. Also not allowed to make any sort of contact with your body. You can't kick it. You can't carry it or use your feet at all. Now, the goalies can, but if you're out in the field, there's no sort of body touching.
And, well, thankfully for these ladies, I guess I don't want to jinx anybody, but speaking with Seaholm's athletic trainer, Aaliyah Jones, she had very few injuries in this sport. It's sort of a congenial event, apparently. She said it would rival maybe water polo. In fact, more more injuries occur in water polo, she said, than this. So,
Well, you have to take into account there's no headgear or eye protection like in lacrosse. So
right.
obviously, the fact that the ball has to stay below the knee is crucial into the safety aspect. And I kind of laughed with you prior to the start of the game. If something looks dangerous, it probably is, and the result will be a penalty. It's a very safe game. It's supposed to be played at a high speed. In fact, you're not even allowed to obstruct your opponent. You can't shield the ball away using your body, so you won't see any sort of box outs. You won't see any protection using the stick. There's obviously no checking.
I can feel a version of this sport coming someday, maybe, huh? Checking allowed and encouraged.
Full contact, yeah.
Full contact field hockey.
So we mentioned that striking circle, or what is known as the D. That is the only location in which you can score a goal. Shots can take place outside of that scoring circle, striking circle, but they have to be then touched, redirected in by someone within that black D zone.
Right, inside that circle, right. So that'll be interesting to take note of here if we have any goals that go in from outside that circle. But we were asking some of the players, what's a typical score here? I guess, it could be the game before us was the freshman game, was 2-1. Bloomfield Hills won, but 3, 4, 5 goals, I guess, have been the norm so far in this early season.
And only two can gather around a ball. There's no third party, so if two players are surrounding a ball and kind of battling for a loose ball, a third member, even if its opponent, cannot come in. So there's really no sort of double teams per se. You just have to mark pretty much woman on woman.
I can already see, Brad, that this not being able to use the backside of the stick is somewhat of an added challenge to matriculating the ball up the pitch, as it were.
Here's an opportunity for Bloomfield. So we've seen a lot of action kind of between the 40s out in midfield, and there's an instance there where you almost wonder if reflexes tell you to kind of kick at the ball.
Well, absolutely. I just thought of that, in fact. That would be frowned upon, apparently.
Tessa Fain plays it forward. You kind of catch yourself anticipating a kicking motion to take place. Is there you see a defender kind of backed off. They didn't want to be the third member of the party in.
Yeah. Well, let's start making rule changes right from the get-go, Brad. Why don't we start making our list with suggestions? We've been doing it for years with soccer.
Finley Netschke slowed that ball down, tried to play it through midfield. That loose ball's picked up, played forward, picked up by Tessa Fain on the right wing side, overran it, turned over to the Blackhawks along the far side, kind of whiffing on the pass attempt. Madeline Baker not happy with herself. And I say possession will stay with Birmingham. And there's sort of that self-start after the whistle. Kate Moore put the ball in play, tried to pick it up. Yeah, the outlet passes, those sort of stretch passes that you often see in lacrosse, maybe not so successful in the game of field hockey. It's got to be somewhat difficult to move that ball far upfield.
Well, how about this? And doing some research for this game tonight, reading about the days of field hockey before artificial turf. This game was played on grass, and Coach Amy for Birmingham said she played many matches on grass, and the ball didn't move along quite as quickly as it is on these surfaces.
Well, they do at times water down the surface to kind of speed things up.
Yeah, and apparently when that happens, they have a separate field hockey ball that has dimples in it, which has a tendency to speed up the pace of the ball. It skips along the wet surface like that. And adds another dimension to the game, apparently.
It's kind of interesting checking out the goalie gear. They kind of wear padded shoe protection as well because you really don't want that ball hitting your toe, but no catching glove.
Right.
It's sort of two, as you would say, kind of hockey goalie blockers.
Right.
And the right one has a cutout for the stick. So you can jab the stick through one of the blockers, but you're basically operating with two blockers, so you can't really pick up or catch the ball.
Right, and when there's a good shot of it there, nice feed by our esteemed director, Steve Rhoda, in the truck tonight with his capable staff on board. But it's going to be interesting to see some of these shots on goal. We really haven't had one yet. So, but yeah, that goalie equipment is voluminous, as one word that comes to mind. Definitely go with that as a Halloween costume some point too. But the helmet, they've got the full helmet with cage, of course, because we were checking out this field hockey ball. It's not a lot of give to it. It's a hard rubber.
Somewhat similar, I would say, kind of to a lacrosse ball.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a little bit harder than that lacrosse ball. You kind of stick your fingernail into. It's a little more of a, not as dense of a rubber. I don't want to get all shore A and shore D on everyone here, but that's a scale by which they measure rubber hardness.
5 minutes left to go, opening quarter of play. Still scoreless, looking for our very first shot on goal. Reminder, this is the first year that this is a varsity sport at the MHSAA level. This was a club sport for many years. Grosse Pointe schools are kind of notorious for the sport of field hockey, but the MHSAA, one of two sports this year to get thrown into the mix along with boys volleyball. Boys volleyball will be a spring sport this year. University of Michigan's women's field hockey team pretty good. Won the Big Ten tournament this past year. Got bounced in the first round of the NCAAs, however, by University of Virginia. Northwestern in Evanston, Illinois has a tremendous field hockey team.
Yeah, in fact, Northwestern's coach, I believe, is on the U.S. Olympic Committee, if not one of their coaches, I believe. In fact, Coach Joe was telling me about her. So a lot of field hockey royalty, I guess you could say, there in Evanston.
Well, we know the Birmingham girls lacrosse team has won state titles, has made numerous state title appearances. You kind of think this sport would sort of lend itself to that game as well. Same sort of athlete, someone that's agile, speedy.
And they cover a lot of ground out there, too. There's going to be some tired legs by the time it's over, I think.
Maybe not quite as much running as, say, the sport of soccer, but still a lot of back and forth. Played with the foot there, so we get the fraction, and there's just that quick play on, right? That self-start. I like that. There's not nearly as much downtime with the sport of girls lacrosse. There's kind of oftentimes some positioning that takes place, and everybody sort of gets reset. This is a self-starting sport. The play-ons are a lot quicker. That running clock also helps, as we're down to just 2 minutes and 38 seconds now remaining in the first quarter.
Yeah, that becomes noticeable right away, doesn't it? This is it's a very quick pace, and you look up and we've got a first quarter that's winding down rapidly.
Chopping that ball, stopping it. And two players come together for that battle. They'll award possession to Bloomfield. Intercepted Helen Miller on the far side. Took it off the stick of Evelyn Grosshans. Ball skips forward, nudged forward now, all the way out to midfield. And no call, they'll play on. Izzy Jeffries getting ready to check into the game for Bloomfield. Jeffries, a sophomore, wears the double deuces. A little bit of confusion on this near side. Let's see. I'm going to give possession over to Birmingham. Stopped there by Finley Netschke. Couldn't play it forward. Second attempt is good. Nudged it up to Claire Peters. Had it knocked off her stick. Intercept momentarily. And see, there's sort of that defending there where you're not allowed to use your stick on an opponent's stick. So you have to play the ball rather than the stick. A lot's got to run through your mind as a defender. I'm not allowed to do this. I can't do that.
Right? But this is similar in a lot of sports in that defense will win you some games. And we're seeing that now. I think that last line of defense has been key for both sides in terms of not allowing any rushes.
A lot of these restarts are sort of used the edge of the stick. I don't know if you've noticed that,
Yeah,
Andy.
they swept it from kind of like the hook of the stick, it looks like, which apparently is allowed.
Look out. Gigi Hill had a burst of speed. She gets stood up. 15 seconds left to go. Last line of defense, Addison Goot. Ellen Miller there as well. And I don't think Bloomfield's going to get an opportunity. They will not. As the first quarter buzzer sounds scoreless after 1 quarter of play. We'll take a quick break here on BACB Sports. Don't go anywhere.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
And we are back. Start of the second quarter of play. Bloomfield taking on Birmingham. Field hockey. Our maiden voyage, Andy Aubrey.
This is it. We're jumping in with both feet on day one here, Brad. Not a lot of scoring yet. Not even a shot on goal, but we have high hopes for the second quarter.
Blackhawks with the opening possession of the second quarter of play. Caitlin Sickinger had it near midfield. Moved it over to Monica Hito. Streaking down the far side, into the D, into the shooting zone. An opportunity here for Birmingham. Not getting much on that attempt. Sickinger was right in front of the cage, couldn't pull the trigger. Now there's a battle for that loose ball. Nudged forward once again by Birmingham. Back right out by the Blackhawks. Another battle ensues, and once again it's Birmingham from the outside. Kick save made by Sosha. Long rebound, corralled there by Birmingham. Boyle had it, and now they'll give possession over to Bloomfield. So our very first shot on goal belongs to Birmingham, and it was quite the scoring attempt here. A little bit of a bouncing ball off the stick of Kate French, but turned aside well by Juju Sosha.
Yeah, that might have been a little trickier chance than it looked like initially. In the replay, it showed as a pretty good
So now
save.
we got a penalty corner coming up. So we had the defensive foul occurring inside the striking zones. The ball must exit the circle, Andy, before a shot can take place. It also has to be touched by another offensive player. So there's the exit of the zone, the re-entry. It's already been touched, so now it can be shot. Instead, it's turned out by the Blackhawks. So some sort of odd rules in the sport. There's a lot to kind of explain.
Including the fact that all these girls are taking their masks off and throwing them behind the goal. All of a sudden, now they're putting them back on again.
So we're going to see another penalty corner. And my favorite part of the penalty corner is the fact that all the defenders kind of huddle in the goal and then spring out. So there's the exit of the zone, the first touch.
Well, that was something. There's my expert analysis.
So the third
yeah.
time will not be the charm. So we
No,
will not get a
apparently not.
third penalty corner. So it's a unique restart for defensive fouls that occur within. You can also see a penalty corner if a defender, and now this is a rule I also like, and I think should kind of be implemented maybe in the game of soccer. If you purposely send the ball over the end line as a defender, now a goalie can send the ball over the end line, but if you are a defender and you purposely send it over the end line, kind of out of bounds to thwart an offensive chance, penalty corner.
Penalty right there. Yeah, instead in soccer it's just just a standard take it out the side. One day we'll have the perfect sport.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Put Andy Aubrey and Brad Fetters as the sports czars.
Yes, we will, and we've got the ear of the athletic directors.
So let's take another look here at this kick save. This time it was made by Layla Feldman.
Kick save and a beauty. You could say that.
I don't know. Was that I don't know if that was necessarily a save. That was kind of just playing the ball up, right? And deciding she was more apt to kick it further than she could use her stick.
Yeah, apparently so. That's exactly it.
Those were those old soccer instincts there.
Yeah.
By Miss Feldman to kick that ball forward.
And she did tell us she was kind of a soccer player originally, right?
Yep, soccer and volleyball, and she decided, hey, I'm going to give this field hockey game a try. I think she just wanted to wear the really cool pads.
I think so too, because she admitted she loves playing goalie. So, and who doesn't? I always liked that too. You're kind of in the center of attention there, but it does seem odd. You expect them to kind of grab the ball, but they're not allowed to. Even the goalie, you know.
So we had a kick there by the Blackhawks. Ball back over to Birmingham. And we'll get one of these self-starts. Not waiting for any sort of ref's whistle, obviously with the running clock that happens. There was a ball played on the backhand.
Yeah, I'm puzzled. They are playing it from the back of the stick, but everything I read said you're not allowed to do that.
There was stick-on-stick contact, so opportunity from just outside the box. And turnover over to the Blackhawks. That one made its way all the way through the defense. Birmingham does have numbers back. They'll swipe it over to the side. Pushed forward, however. Now a foot race ensues. And there's that sort of that rule where you can't be the third member in. Are we catching on yet?
I think so.
Some inadvertent body contact. Numbers here for Birmingham. A little 4-on-3 if they're able to hurry. Maeve Boyle gets held up momentarily by the defender. Tried to use the edge of her stick. Now, you see there, she's purposely has the stick turned over so she doesn't use the backhand.
Right. Yeah, like pointed down onto the ground.
Yep. That ball kind of popped up. That was clearly higher than the knee. Kate French left for Sickinger. Sickinger up ahead. Hito didn't get a lot on that shot. In fact, it's not even going to reach the end line. And that was kind of an ill-advised play by the Blackhawks. And Hito tried to take advantage. The Blackhawks just sort of anticipated that ball rolling over the end line. It didn't. So Hito went in after it, tried to get the shot attempt on net, but it was unsuccessful. Blackhawks cleared out, but not all the way out. Birmingham puts it back into the D. Poked around and poked out, but right back in. A little game of keep away taking place. Monica Ahito has had a really good shift here offensively as they sort of have the Blackhawks on their heels. Merritt Garcia will have to hold up as the turnover goes over to Bloomfield Hills. Maisie Baker will put the ball in play, far side of the pitch. Turns it over, gets it right back on the ricochet bounce. Played out of bounds. It'll stay with Birmingham.
Yeah, Birmingham putting a little bit of pressure on here, the 8-minute mark of the second quarter. They've had this down deep in the Bloomfield Hills zone now for a minute or two, and that's all it takes. You got to get some shots on goal, though.
When we were down at field level, we should have taken a quick glance at one of the sticks and kind of seen how difficult this was. Because from this vantage point, this looks like an extremely difficult game.
It sure does.
It's a fairly small stick.
Yeah, the sticks are made of similar material to a hockey stick, carbon fiber, molded, some petroleum-based product that's molded. They used to make them out of wood, but they said those days are long gone. So maybe we can do that at halftime, take a run down and check them out.
Looked like Cecilia Castle might have taken a stick to the face. She came off the pitch, and she is shook up. Coach Joe tending to her, and maybe need the athletic trainer.
Yeah, she's got a little blood there on the mouth, and she's upset.
Coach Joe trying to settle her down on the road bench.
Well, Coach Joe's smiling. It's a good sign. But, you know, she's ex-military. She's tough.
So Blackhawks will move it in and kicked right back out by Feldman. So those soccer skills really coming in handy. Look out now. Birmingham, all kinds of speed. They got 5 attackers on their side of the 50-yard line. They're looking to move it up into the striking zone. Into the circle it comes. Ellie Francis was the closest Birmingham player to the ball. Stopped just in front of the net. Not cleared out. Stays in the D. Tapped around. Controlled by Birmingham. They swipe at it. No contact was made. Played all the way out by the Blackhawks. There's some contact made. Can't do that. We know this isn't a physical game. So ball over to Birmingham. Couple whiffs, and now finally sent out by the Blackhawks.
And that's one thing you notice, Brad. That defense.
Oh, look out.
Yeah, I was just going to say the defense cheats up very far, and they're left kind of hold an empty bag on a rush like this.
Hemmen leads it for Gardner. And battle for it. I'm going to say some body contact made there by Gardner, so Birmingham will have it. Not a lot on that pass attempt. Stolen again by the Blackhawks. Played through, looking to give it Shrivasta. Vivian Shrivasta into the game. And it'll be Birmingham ball. You mentioned fairly low-scoring games. In fact, Birmingham 0-4 on the season, lost to West Bloomfield on the road 5-0, lost to Clarkston 2-0. Scored their only goal of the season, a 2-1 loss to Grand Blanc. And then their home opener, they dropped the contest 4-0 to Farmington Hills. And a couple forwards got past that last line of defense. Oh, what a play defensively to get back. Maya Emmen, the last line of defense there for the Blackhawks, and she got herself into position.
Yeah, that was a 3-on-1 opportunity, and Bloomfield Hills very fortunate that didn't turn into goal for Birmingham. Here you see it.
Emmen getting back and kind of make that last-ditch effort.
Yeah, that was certainly Birmingham's best scoring chance so far.
So we'll get another penalty corner restart. 6 players outside of the circle. Contact has to be made outside before it put in. That one touch has to happen before the shot. So there's your one touch. It went out to in, and a kick save, Sosha. Long rebound controlled by Birmingham. Brought right back in by Francis. Francis left it. First shot attempt no good, and then I think he had maybe a little bit too high of a swing, too high of a backswing perhaps.
Maybe that's the problem then, yeah, because you are not allowed to wind up on a slap shot type style of shot.
Cape French 2:25 left to go, first half of play. Couple scoring chances for Birmingham. They have been sort of the aggressor throughout this game. They've been rewarded with, 3 penalty corners. Haven't turned them into points quite yet. Self-start, restart, and go back with the pass.
Surprising.
Kate French with the steal. French looks upfield, trying to connect with Francis. Got Francis. Look out. Francis oversteps the ball, recovers, sent the shot through the legs of Sosha, and then over the end line. Whoa. Francis, the biggest scoring opportunity in this game thus far.
Yeah, we'll
get
take
another look at
another
it.
quick glance at it. There's a couple chances there. She kind of whiffed on the first one, but looked for all the world like that one was earmarked for the back of the net, and it did not happen.
So the reset now from Sickinger. She'll move it back and missed on the first. Sent it into the circle. Turnaround shot. That would have been good. They're going to wave off the goal. Everybody froze. Whistle occurred before the shot attempt. They'll reset. Clock continues to wind down. Ball placed at midfield, 10 seconds left to go. Geller over to Hito. Hito has it taken off her stick, and that will do it for the first half of play. A couple scoring chances from Birmingham, but Juju Sosha up to the task at goal, and we remain scoreless at the halftime break. Andy, your thoughts on the first half of play?
Well, it's in the book so far, Brad. And Birmingham, yeah, they had a few good chances there towards the end of that second quarter. It looked like especially that most recent opportunity they had was going in. But interesting game. We're going to sort of gather ourselves, maybe do some more research at halftime and see if we can get ourselves a goal or two in the second half.
Take a quick break here on BACB Sports. When we come back, the start of the third quarter of play from Birmingham Seaholm High School.
If you love them enough to relearn math so you can teach them math, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
Start of the second half of play. Birmingham with the ball. Scoreless. Looking for our very first goal of this field hockey game. Birmingham in those black jerseys operating now from left to right. Two teams have traded ends. Blackhawks looking really for their first scoring chance of this evening's game. Birmingham has had a handful. Also had quite a few penalty corners.
Yeah, Birmingham did not have the what's the word I'm looking for? Opportunity for all of them to don their masks and stand in the goal like that, but happened more than once for Bloomfield.
I think maybe hockey should incorporate that. Kind of maybe have the defenseman crouch down inside the net.
Maybe.
Is there anything in the rule book that says you can't?
Let's go to the rule book.
Bloomfield going to put the ball back in play right around the midfield stripe. Told at the halftime break. There is no overtime, so we will end in a draw, just like in varsity soccer. When I mentioned the word overtime next door in the press box, it was like I said, a very dirty word. Everybody kind of glared at me.
I'm sure everyone had the same effect in the truck.
It's very taboo in most press boxes, the word overtime.
Overtime, extra innings, these are all terms that are forbidden to even utter in case they were to happen.
Don't want to jinx it, even though I don't believe in announcers' jinxes. There's no way you and I have that much control over the outcome.
I don't think so either. Like to think we do, but we don't.
Birmingham trying to cycle it out of their own zone, kind of struggling at the moment.
Yeah, there's just a little bit of back and forth going on there. It wasn't making much progress.
Here's an instance where both players for the Blackhawks kind of backpedaled out of that scrum because you don't want to be the third member to join it. Played forward, but stepping in between that pass. Good job by the Blackhawks there as they look to get it in deeper into their offensive zone. Kind of brushed out by Birmingham. Stopping and starting. Pass through a couple sticks. Finally settled down by Kate French. French muscles it over to the left wing side. And just out of the reach of Gigi Hill. Ellie Francis, the biggest scoring chance of tonight's contest. Juju Sosha, those big pads, kicked the ball free and kept us deadlocked at zeros. Something's going to have to give, Andy.
Something's
gotta
gotta give. I mean, it simply can't go on like this forever. Well, I think we mentioned possible inevitability in the beginning about how legs get tired and defensive lapses can occur and breakdowns, breakaways. Eventually, feels like something will happen.
And typically, we've called enough soccer games to know when you least expect it is when the ball pops into the back of the goal. Now, this sport a little different due to the fact that you have to score within that D.
Right. And the more I'm watching the game, I'm wondering how much that really matters. I mean, I guess it's a factor.
Well, you're not going to get sort of any odd goal, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, say you had a chance to shoot from outside the D, for instance, is that going to give? I mean, it's a farther distance, so I would think that the goalie would have a better read on a longer shot. So
that one's not played out. Loose ball, side of the cage. Don't forget the goalie can't pick it up. Has to either kick it out or move it with their stick, and that one was kicked out by Sosha, and that was kind of more of a scramble effort for Birmingham.
I would say there was like 15 players in that little goal crease. I don't know how anything could have gotten through that, but maybe, it's one of those opportunities where the ball just squirts through there.
And there's that second defender coming in.
Here's what we're talking about. I mean, look at all these bodies. Really? And there's a girl standing behind the goalie, a la kind of an extra attacker on the ice in a hockey. I don't know. We're going to find out more as we go.
I just like the fact that the goaltending position in a game where you're not allowed to use your hands just becomes this wild flailing kicking motion.
Yeah, because the goalies on these scoring opportunities that we've seen, I don't feel like they've used their sticks very much as they've been getting the fancy footwork going.
Well, and it's not like a gigantic goalie stick like we see in hockey, right?
If anything, it looks teeny. It looks like a little toothpick in her hand.
Or you could kind of like cover up the 5-hole or
Yeah. There's no curve at all. It's just like a little bubble at the end of it.
Streaking up the far side. Played back. Kept in bounds momentarily. They'll say it'll stay with Birmingham. Well, there's a good intercept. That was a clean steal. Don't forget, you're not allowed to, quote-unquote, stick check. You're not allowed to lift up offensive player's stick. Not allowed to slash an opponent's stick. That was a good defensive play. That was all ball. Good clean steal. Pickpocket version that time. Maybe Boyle with the steal. 7.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. So halfway through the third quarter of play. Looking for our very first goal of the contest. Stop trying to change direction. Lena Dale. Loose ball. Battle won by Bloomfield. So the touching or hitting of an opponent's stick is called stick interference. And that's to kind of facilitate and encourage more offense. Blackhawk blow a tire, fell down. Madeline Baker getting ready to check in. Merrick Garcia will come in for Birmingham. Lena Dale.
Did a little research on this game. As I mentioned in my pregame interview, there is evidence on cave drawings and such where this game originates 3,000 BC by the Greeks.
Really?
And to this day, they say it's the second most popular team sport in the world, second only to soccer. I know it's very big in India, and, well, they got over 1 billion people, so that's one thing. It's been in the Olympics since the 80s, in fact. 1980, to be exact. Zimbabwe won the first Olympic gold.
Uh-oh, we got a yellow card. It looks like they're going to send a Blackhawk off the field. So it'll be Sydney Aguilar. Going to get tossed here with the yellow card. So they will have to play a player down. So essentially a 10-on-9 now because of the yellow card. So a huge opportunity for Birmingham. Didn't quite see what could have brought out the yellow card.
No, that must have been a very subtle transgression because we didn't, nothing seemed blatant from up here.
So green card warning, red card permanent disqualification, and that yellow card resulting in a temporary suspension of the player. So it's typically officials' judgment and usually a 5-minute penalty in field hockey. So exclusion foul puts the Blackhawks a player down. Birmingham able to take advantage of that. 3:52 now left to go, third quarter of play. Brad Fetters with a squared, Andy Aubrey. Still looking for that first goal, Andy.
Yeah, we're waiting. We're waiting patiently. This sport has a number of celebrity players maybe you weren't aware of, but Emma Watson played the game. Kate Middleton, the princess. Kate, Jennifer Lawrence, Heath Ledger, they all played the game.
Emma Watson from Harry Potter fame.
Big sport in England.
Yeah, I was going to say that was kind of the gist of what you just said. A lot of British names.
And the British influence in India, that's part of the history of the sport. In fact, India has won the most golds in the Olympics, a total of 8.
Ball sort of pinballs around in the circle. Birmingham unable to capitalize on this man-up advantage after the yellow card foul. Restart will come with the Blackhawks with the ball. They go to that backhand attempt, no good. Stay with Bloomfield, no rush on a new player. That's Jada Morrissey. Bouncing ball into the D, scooped up by Birmingham. Played out. Morrissey fresh into the game with the intercept. Little give and go. Circling around. Dale tried to play it in. Couldn't. Stepping in between. Fain has it. Fain looks upfield. Nudged it forward across the midfield stripe. Gigi Hill, all kinds of speed. Hill into the D. Hill slams on the brakes. Pad save. Kick save. Long rebound. Controlled by Birmingham. And over the end line. So Gigi Hill, all kinds of speed, was going downhill. And
Hill was going downhill.
We'll get another look at it.
This is the best scoring opportunity Birmingham has had in the second half. And the big kick save looked like something was transpiring there for a second, but down to 1:06 and counting here in the third quarter.
Now, kind of noticed on that replay, Hill was dribbling with sort of the forehand, then turned the stick around mid-shot, or prior to the shot,
right,
rather, flipped it over and kind of went underhand with that effort. Sort of a kind of, I don't know, would you call it a backhand, even though it's not with the back of the stick?
Yeah, and it did. It had sort of a, turn the wrist around thing going on there.
And another pad save. Boyle going to get a second chance off of her own rebound. And
everybody froze there. We'll see this chance. Good opportunity. Oh, man. She had some open space on the right side of that goal. But
so now another penalty corner. 4th or 5th already in the game for Birmingham. Reminder, it has to come outside the striking circle. Has to be touched before it's brought in. So the buzzer sounded to end the third quarter, but going to get basically an untimed play here on the penalty restart. And then the tie-up occurs. And that will do it. 3 quarters in the books. Birmingham, all kinds of scoring chances throughout this contest, have yet to turn them into a goal, but they are certainly looking like the team with some momentum on their side. One final break here during regulation on BACB Sports. When we come back, the 4th quarter of play.
If you love them enough to relearn math so you can teach them math, then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
Start of the fourth quarter of play. Birmingham ball. Really good scoring chance off the penalty corner restart to end the third quarter of play. Bloomfield right down the center of the field, dribbling forward, keeping it on the stick, played into the circle and kicked right back out once again by goalkeeper Layla Feldman. And a little bit of an inadvertent stick. And that inadvertent stick is going to result in a penalty corner, the very first of the game now for Bloomfield.
All right, Brad, I'm standing up now. This is it. We're changing the luck in this game. We're going to get some goals. Aaron Frank assured us we would see scoring. We're going to hold him to it.
I don't know if he said scoring, but he assured us there would be a goal.
I'll take it at this point.
A score. I don't know if he said scoring, because that ball's kicked out with some velocity. That ball came springing out. Feldman, the former soccer goalkeeper, not afraid to boot the ball. Kind of that punting motion. Look out. Opportunity. Jada Morsi into the D. Morsi kicked aside. Bad save and a beauty. Morsi gets her own rebound. Tried to fling it forward. Go back to the wing. Nudged forward by Baker. And right back out by Birmingham.
Well, the kicks certainly seem to be the more reliable method for saving shots from what we're seeing.
Get another look at it. This is clearly the best scoring chance of the game,
for either team. Yeah, she didn't even make an attempt with her stick. It was all about the kick motion. And a good effort, by the way. Both sides.
That's good foot-eye coordination.
Yes, it is.
Because I can't imagine it's easy, especially when that ball's kind of slightly bouncing.
Right.
To line up your leg and the pad
and the surface itself. Anyone who's been on an artificial field with the little granulated rubber can get a little slippery when you're trying to make cuts, and in this case, stop a bouncing ball on it. It's rubber on rubber crime down there, and there's kind of an unreliable bounce path occasionally.
Eden Alessi changing direction. Alessi dribbles in. Kind of tried to feed a teammate in the form of Merrick Garcia. Alessi right back. Moved into the box by Peters. And right back over on the turnover. Get another self-start. Numbers for Bloomfield if they hurry. 5-on-3 opportunity. Gardner had to slam on the brakes. Ball pops up in the air. Played off the shaft of the stick that time by Helen Miller. And Miller's going to regather and dump it into her offensive zone. Gathered back up by the Blackhawks. Battle for that loose ball. Nudge forward. Now kind of backpedaling off. And another foot race. Jada Morsi. Lots of speed out there for the Blackhawks. She's had her opportunities in the start of this fourth quarter of play. 4 minutes gone by. Need a goal. Need a winner. 11 minutes to go in regulation. I think that was an instance there where the offensive player for the Blackhawks wasn't in complete control of her stick. The official was sort of right there. Kind of mentioned it in the first half of play. If it looks dangerous, it probably is, and it's probably going to result in a penalty. You got to be in control of your stick at all times. Reminder, the Blackhawks are back to full strength. They had the yellow card violation that put them a woman down, but they are back to 10-on-10, and there's the first goal of the game. We talked about it when you least expect it, and it's Morsi that went to work.
Yeah, that was innocent enough looking, and you nailed it, Brad. It was kind of a shot out of nowhere that got through, and our scoreless deadlock is broken.
Izzy Jeffries was there as well. It was Jeffries that carried it all the way in and was able to sneak it by the goalkeeper. And dogged determination leading to the goal for Izzy Jeffries, the sophomore. And Jeffries has put the Blackhawks up 1-0. So we had to wait until the fourth quarter before we got our first goal of the game. It belonged to Bloomfield, belongs to Izzy Jeffries. Bloomfield leads it now 1-0. Back to the drawing board, so to speak, now for Birmingham, looking for the equalizer.
Yeah, we'll see if that kind of lights a fire under them to try and tie this one up. They haven't played badly. It seems as though they've had more than enough chances to score. They just have not been able to find the back of the net. Two evenly matched teams, and this is just the byproduct of sticking with it. What happened here for Bloomfield Hills in the last minute or two.
Seemingly harmless play. It wasn't really any sort of setup or any sort of set piece. Just Izzy Jeffries with her head down just kind of continued to battle on that far side of the pitch and just was able to squeak one past Layla Feldman for our lone goal of this contest thus far. So here we go. Birmingham gets it within the striking circle. Long range shot turned aside defensively by one of the defenders. Ball pops out. And we'll go over to the Blackhawks. Missed opportunity perhaps there for Birmingham. Ball played all the way to the midfield stripe, but no further. Forged back in by Birmingham. Now all of a sudden you look up at the big board here at Seaholm High School. 8 minutes to go in regulation. And once again it's Jada Morrissey. Got stood up defensively by Geller.
Yeah. Time will become a factor here if it's not already in terms of Birmingham trying to tie this one up. The pace of game is gone. It's goals few and far between. It's going to be tricky for them, but they only need one to get out of here with their first non-loss of the season, and that's the goal for the moment.
Yeah, both teams looking for their first W of the season. Loose ball pops around. Playable there for Birmingham. Trying to split a couple defenders, couple stick whacks. And that final stick whack is going to result in a penalty. So ball over to the Blackhawks. Looking to strike. Looking for the insurance goal. Lone goal scorer Izzy Jeffries of Bloomfield Hills. Right now the game winner. Now all of a sudden some slight stall tactics might come into play here.
Well, yeah, if you're Bloomfield Hills, this game is kind of plodded along from a scoring standpoint. And you could play a little keep away for 6 minutes and 30 seconds, I would think.
They call it park the bus in soccer.
Yeah, right. That's dangerous too, though, because when you go into that kind of sleepy sleep mode and you can get caught napping, and finally there's a kind of an odd player rush. It's burned more than a few teams.
Some prevent defense, right?
Prevent the stall,
Yeah.
four corner offense. Keep away.
Blackhawks right back on the attack. Ball comes all the way out. Another kick save. Long rebound. Loose. And the ball rolls across the goal line and in. Going to be tough to judge on initial viewing who was the last player to touch that ball. But it was kind of the usual suspects once again. Jada Morrissey involved definitely in the scoring there. An instance where Birmingham just couldn't clear that ball out. Sydney Aguilar, number 25, going to get credit for the goal. So there's your insurance goal. So the two sophomores, Jeffries and Aguilar, factoring into the scorings. We'll get another look at it.
Yeah, you could sense it coming, Brad. It was just a big scrum out in front, and sort of the ball trickled away and rolled over the goal line for the second goal of this game for Bloomfield Hills.
So we asked for offense, we asked for scoring, and we get it.
We got a couple goals out of the deal. You feel for these Birmingham ladies. They're fighting their hearts out, and they have not tasted success yet this year, and they're going to have to really turn up the heat in these last 5 minutes if they're going to tie this one up, but there is time. That first goal, though, seemed to energize Bloomfield Hills a little bit, maybe somewhat demoralized Birmingham, but Coach Amy won't let them fall down. They'll keep fighting.
Tie up on the far side of the pitch. .435 left to go in the fourth quarter of play. Really becoming desperation time now for Birmingham.
Yeah, they really haven't had much going on the last 5 to 7 minutes of this fourth quarter. It's been most of the play down in their end, and they're going to have to flip that script pretty quickly if they can.
Should make mention that Caitlin Sickinger, number 7 of Birmingham, scored the very first goal in program history, and that 2-1 loss to Grand Blanc, and the assist went to Kate French. So Caitlin Sickinger, that's kind of something to brag about, right, for the rest of your life?
In history of your school in a new sport, that's pretty impressive.
Bloomfield Hills. Shipley Green up ahead. Kennedy Miarka. It went off a foot. It'll be Birmingham ball. All of a sudden, they are in complete desperation mode.
Yeah, the time quickly evaporates in this sport with that clock continuing to run. No stoppages.
Some fancy stick work there by Kate French. Able to dribble around a defender. Gets it right back. French, we know she's a facilitator. Has a lone assist in program history. French going to absolute battle here for that loose ball. And they'll give the possession over to Bloomfield Hills. Tough break there for Birmingham. Blackhawks changing on the fly. 17, Ellie Gardner checking in. Izzy Jeffries right now, the game-winning goal. Sydney Aguilar, the insurance goal. 2:25 left to go. 2-0 Bloomfield. Hills over Birmingham. They'll play on far side of the pitch. Race for that loose ball. Controlled by Birmingham. Eden Alessi. She's going to be the cherry picker. She's wearing number 1. She's in the D right now. Looking for that pass. Couldn't find her. Birmingham trying to sell out offensively. Looking for a goal. Trying to trim this lead. Individual effort made by Sydney Aguilar. And whistle blows from this near side official. And the clock will stop as we get ourselves a timeout called on the pitch. Timeout with 1:47 left to go in the fourth quarter of play. Bloomfield Hills 2, Birmingham nothing.
Yeah, I think it's been a very evenly matched game, even though the scoreboard sort of speaks otherwise, with Bloomfield Hills enjoying a 2-0 lead now, 1:47 left to play here in regulation time. But those ladies there in Birmingham have given it everything they've had, and it's just not quite enough tonight. Looks like Bloomfield Hills may end up walking out of this visitors pitch with the first ever win between these two teams, first ever game between these two teams, and something for them to hang their hat on.
So let's take another look at our goals. First, the Izzy Jeffries goal. And then Sydney Aguilar adding on an insurance goal.
And
Both
this
right on
was
the doorstep.
A little bit of chaos there, and just helplessly watching that one kind of roll over the line in slow motion almost.
Helen Miller, number 12 for Birmingham, did all she could to prevent that second goal from going in. I don't know if you caught it or not, but she essentially did the splits.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of there was a forest of legs in there, and it's one of those amazing that the ball was able to get through.
So official stops play, allows everyone to kind of reset. Aguilar. She's a bit of an aggressor. She's not afraid to mix it up. Use her speed to her advantage. She has it now. Dribbles forward. Looks for the pass. Didn't get a lot on it, but enough. A little bit of a give and go situation there. Killing off some very valuable clock as we have just 80 seconds left to go in the fourth quarter of play. And that was an effort maybe there where you didn't quite front up. And Bloomfield will reset. Ellie Gardner right at the midfield stripe. She'll take her time getting this play in and kind of angled it off into her visitor's bench.
Yeah, now the stall technique's a valid tactic if you are the Blackhawks.
You're going to move this ball up just a little. I don't know if that extra couple feet was worth it. As the clock continues to wind down, that running clock just absolutely hurts you. Kate French will leave it. Tessa Fain didn't get a lot on that pass attempt. Half minute left to go in our inaugural field hockey game between two rival schools.
Nearby neighbors, sort of, right? Compared to some of these other schools, Grand Blanc and the rest. So Bloomfield Hills is not far. Their fans made the long trek over 4 whole miles, I guess.
Down to 10 seconds. Probably not enough time to get one final shot attempt on. And that will do it. Bloomfield Hills comes in and comes away with a really impressive 2-0 shutout victory over the Birmingham United Field Hockey squad. Both goals scored late in this fourth quarter. Izzy Jeffries, the game winner, just a sophomore. The insurance goal scored by sophomore Sydney Aguilar as the Blackhawks come away with the 2-0 victory. We'll take one final break here on BACB Sports. When we come back, our post-game coverage, including Andy Aubrey's Player of the Game interview.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
Welcome back one final time to Birmingham Seaholm High School BACB Sports continuing coverage here. Our post-game coverage, a 2-0 win for the Bloomfield Hills Blackhawks over the Birmingham United squad. Our player of the game-winning goal tonight was scored by sophomore Izzy Jeffries. She's alongside Andy Aubrey.
All right, Brad, thank you very much. We are here now with our BACB Sports Player of the Game, Izzy Jeffries from Bloomfield Hills. She's from the other side, oh no. But a great game. Your team played well, and you scored the winning goal. Take us back to that goal. How did you see it? How did it happen?
It was really just I forget who, but I got passed into space, and it kind of was just like a fluke goal. Like I barely touched it, but it happens.
Yeah,
So-
they all count, right?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
know. So they may not have all been the way you drew them up, but you'll take them. Now, this was the first time we've ever seen the sport. How did you get involved in it?
I heard about it from my lacrosse coach, who's the head varsity coach, and I also have a relative kind of who used to coach, and so I did lessons with her, and I grew to really like it. So.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about playing for the husband and wife duo, your coaching team. What are those two like?
They're very fun. We get to hear some stories sometimes. They definitely argue a bit, but it's very fun. I like it.
Yeah, there's a lot of experience there, you can tell. But they love you guys, and you got a great team, so it's gratifying, I'm sure. Your first win, right? And did you guys win this season yet?
I think so.
You
Yeah,
did?
a
Okay,
few
I think
times.
This is the first one. All right. Well, I know this is the first time we've covered it. We enjoyed the sport. We thought it was a good game. Thought you were really pretty evenly matched with Birmingham. But, hey, scoreboard, right? So congratulations, Izzy. You did well. You scored the game winner. And, well, good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Brad, we're going to wrap it up from down here and send it back up to you. Get us out of here.
All right, congratulations to our BACB Sports Player of the Game, Izzy Jeffries. The game-winning goal here tonight. Sydney Aguilar also added in a goal for insurance as Bloomfield Hills once again takes it by the final score of 2-0 over Birmingham United. Really enjoyed our coverage here tonight, calling our first ever field hockey game. This is the first time it is a MHSAA-sponsored varsity sports. Terrific job by our hardworking BACB Sports crew, including our director tonight, Steve Rhoda. For my broadcast partner, Andy Aubrey, I'm Brad Fetter saying so long. We'll see you next time right here on BACB Sports.